So it's Shadow Throne this week, Genestealers vs Custodes, and we now have the prices for the box, £105, €140 or $170 US. Let's talk about whether or not it's a good deal. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, where today we're talking prices and miniatures, and taking another look at the big Shadow Throne discount box now we know how much it'll actually cost to pick up. We'll talk about the release of the set, take a look at the values of the kits within, see how much of a discount it is, and talk a little bit about how much of a good deal it is for the people who collect both armies. Before we start though, I thought I'd just quickly mention that Shadow Throne will be the channel's next giveaway. I run monthly prize giveaways on the channel, usually for big model kits of one sort or another, and I thought that seeing as we have Shadow Throne coming out in December, the January giveaway could be 2 copies of the big kit. There's 2 ways to enter the draw, either support the channel for any amount on Patreon, which does also help keep all these videos coming, or you can enter via supporting on social media, subscribing to the YouTube channel, liking the Facebook page, and entering the draw itself on a Facebook post that appears on the 1st of each month. I then put all the entries together, pick the 2 winners with a random number generator, and then post out the boxes to wherever you might be in the world. Potentially could be one way to snag one of these for free, or as an added chance while keeping all these videos coming on the channel. The links to the Patreon and the Facebook are down in the video description. In any case, back to the release and the box itself. Shadow Throne is of course this Genestealer Cult vs Custodes versus box, very similar to a bunch of the ones that they've had before, such as Hexfire or Piety and Pain. I think it was initially meant to be releasing alongside their codexes in December, but now the codexes for the Genestealer Cult and Custodes are coming in January, so we will have a little bit longer to wait about exactly what's going to be changing for them. So far though, the majority of 9th edition codexes have delivered at least somewhat of a power boost. I'm certain that Genestealer Cults will be far stronger and more interesting to play after the release, and I'd be kind of surprised if it wasn't similar for Custodes, although they are much stronger in game currently. The pre-orders are going to be going up this weekend, usually on a Saturday morning, and unlike recent things like those Christmas boxes, you are guaranteed a copy if you order over the weekend, though if Games Workshop does burn through their initial stock of these, I think that the rest of the ones will be a made-to-order sort of basis. So while they'll certainly guarantee that you do get a copy eventually, you might have significantly longer to wait if you're unlucky. Still though, I think it's great that they're offering that option, rather than just doing their previous thing when they just sell out and then it's gone. Still though, it's only a fairly narrow time window, you would have to order on that weekend, so either the Saturday or the Sunday if you want one for guaranteed. GW publishes the prices of these a little bit early compared with when they actually release them, so it's 100% confirmed that it will be £105 or €140. Though I think we're still waiting for final confirmation on the dollar price at the moment. It should be $170. That would fit in exactly with things like Hexfire and their previous Versus boxes, and the euro and pound prices also fit in with that. If for some reason it's different, I'll post a correction down below as a pinned comment. So at these prices, how much of a good deal does Shadow Throne look like? In the box you get a Custodes and a Genestealer Cult force, both fairly compact forces to be honest. The Custodes have 1 Blade Champion, the new HQ model that they have that can adopt different fighting stances, 3 Alaris Terminators and 5 Sisters of Silence. We know the prices for the existing models, but we don't know the price for the Blade Champion yet, so I've estimated based on other recent similar sized model releases. For the Genestealers, the headline act is their new Reductus Saboteur support character. She can detonate hidden explosives that are hidden around the battlefield as a sort of shooting attack, and all of her damage is far better against vehicles and monsters than it is against infantry. Otherwise there's a copy of the Brood Coven box, that's the Patriarch Magus and Primus set, and 2 Genestealery familiars. Really cool characters to the cult, and not really all that bad a box set. And then a set of Neophyte hybrids, the standard affair with the auto guns and the mining lasers. If you add up the prices of these, that comes to around about £170, €225 or $280. So when you're at £105, €140 or $170, then that's a pretty decent discount compared with buying everything separately. Around about a 39% saving if you did decide that you literally wanted every single kit in this box. Obviously though, that is often the question with these box sets. You are getting miniatures that are split between 2 separate armies. I know there'll be some people who collect both Custodes and Genestealer Cult out there, but I think they're going to be quite few and far between. If you can harness all of that saving by splitting the army with a friend perhaps, or if you could think about reselling the other half of the box that you didn't necessarily want, then that's likely to make a far better deal than otherwise. You also do have the question of whether they're the exact units that you might have picked for the faction. but overall I think that 39% savings is quite decent by Games Workshop standards. It's certainly on the better end of things like the Combat Patrol box section, so just in terms of the kits that you get for the money, it isn't too bad at all. Miniatures wise, I'd say that the mix does seem quite nice for the Custodies. The Blade Champion's of course a new model, so no one will have one of him yet. Seems like it'd be a nice addition to have as an option to run if you wanted to. And otherwise the Lara's Custodians and the Sisters of Silence are maybe very slightly nicher choices for the faction at the moment. I feel like that actually might be quite good for big combination boxes like this, as it means that maybe each Custodies player hasn't built up more than they want of any one of those. Of course we can't really say how good they are with the new codex around the corner. We do know however that the Sisters of Silence will be able to be fielded as a troops battlefield role if you equip them with the bolt guns. I guess it's quite nice that you can potentially field this as a little tiny detachment straight from the box without needing anything else to make up a patrol. For the Genestealer Cult, I'd say things maybe aren't necessarily quite as helpful to returning players. Again, the Saboteur seems like she'd be fun to have around. Even if she doesn't wind up being massively competitive, she still seems like a fun model to play. But I think basically whether or not this is going to be a good deal is going to hinge around whether or not you actually want that Brood Coven set. The Patriarch Magus and Primus are all pretty iconic cult leader models, but the thing is I think it's going to be quite rare for any Genestealer Cult player not to already have them in their collection if they have been playing for some time. The way that Genestealer Cult characters work means that you don't typically tend to spam them, and I think that it will be really quite rare that you'd ever use 2 Patriarchs, 2 Maguses and 2 Primuses in any one army. I think that will be hard to do detachment wise, and also quite a lot of investment in characters, particularly when there's plenty of other characters that you might be leaving at home as a result. Overall, I think that if you're a starting out Genestealer Cult player, I think the box looks like a really quite nice way to enter into the faction, but maybe isn't going to be so handy for returning players who probably already have most of those models, and it might be frustrating to have the Reductor Saboteur bundled up with them for a while and not able to buy separately. So let me know what you think. Is Shadow Throne a good deal, or are you going to be passing it up for your faction? Let me know down in the comments below as always, and if there's anything else that I might have missed or got wrong. If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I will certainly keep the regular 40k videos coming. I try and keep up with Games Workshop's news and releases whenever they come out. Finally, if you have been enjoying the videos on the channel, and we do want to get automatic entry into the channel giveaways each month, including the one in January to win the Shadow Throne box set, I will leave a link to the channel's Patreon page down in the video description below. It is the thing that allows me to make videos like this quite so regularly if you are finding this sort of thing useful. I do try and give a few rewards for channel Patreons as well as that. There's things like voting on polls to see what sort of things come next, getting to see certain videos before anyone else does, and other things like names in the credits and things. Feel free to check it out if you're interested, the link's down in the video description. In any case, an absolutely massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.